Welcome back to the channel, BS Gang. If you're new, go ahead and click that subscribe button. A huge portion of you guys are not subscribed, so let's go ahead and let's change that. Also, as always, huge shout out to our members for supporting the channel. If you want to become a member, go ahead and click that join button. So, in this video, we're going to be going over what I consider the top 10 sub-slot passives in the game. Now, I'm not going to be including many of the, like, you know, the 10% passives, the 30% passives like Marmus and Jericho's, because they are all very, very good in their own respective way, right? If that were the case, I would have to make like a top like 20 list. But yes, we all know they are all very, very good. This list, however, is primarily based around PvP and not PvE, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try and explain my reasoning for each of the characters and their, you know, their respective placements. Now, it is difficult because some units on here aren't used as much as others. However, that doesn't mean that their passives are not that good. You know what I mean? Like, or I should say, isn't good or isn't great, right? It just means they aren't used as much. So, for example, Arthur has a very good passive skill that can be used in the sub slot. However, the thing about Arthur is that many people don't run him because he's an HP only, like, buffer, and he only buffs humans, right? So that's one of the main things about him that's a little, you know, right? But he still has a very, very good sub passive. So let's go ahead and let's just, you know, put the unit at number 10, which is going to be Red Skinny King. Now, Red Skinny King, again, Pierce team isn't like prominent anymore, but he is still very good when it comes to facing Pierce teams, or, you know, teams that do really good damage, because he's still going to reduce the Pierce rate by half. Now, that isn't the craziest anymore, but back in the day when he first dropped, even going up against non-Pierce team, like, you know, comps, he was amazing because Pierce rate does, you know, affect attack, right? So he was still very good. Nowadays, you know, units have crit chance, crit damage, sever. They have some crazy cards, so he's not really that, you know, crazy anymore. But I still think he does have like one of the top 10 best passives, simply because reducing pierce rate by half is very, very good. Again, the more units that come out that can be used on the 4 sub slot, he's gonna move down because, again, pierce rate is just not that prevalent. But if they, you know, somehow revive the Pierce team, then he's definitely gonna still be in the top 10 because of his passive skill. So very, very good there. Now, number 9, I'd probably have to give it to Esther Rosa. This is hard because I really want to put Green Lillia here, but I feel like she will be just slightly more, literally like slightly more useful than Esther Rosa's passive, because Esther Rosa, if you guys didn't know, his passive does work on the 4 sub slot, right? If you guys didn't know that already. So if you run him in the 4 sub slot, Tarmiel gets an immense buff because he cannot be stunned if he uses a stance, which is very, very good considering the fact that, you know, Goddess Elizabeth exists, there's freezing units, so having debuff immunity on a stance unit is amazing, right? So the more units we get with stances, Esther Rosa is gonna be like legit god tier broken because of his passive. That passive is very, very nice. Not only that, it really helps to have debuff immunity against people who consistently like attack, disable, stun, freeze, you know, etc, etc. So I do think the more stances we get, the better he will be. But yeah, I would say honestly he is above King simply because of the fact that debuff immunity is very strong, right? Having debuff immunity is strong on units. So I would say he is, you know, somewhat better than Red King. But yeah, having debuff immunity is great. All right, so now we get to number 8. Number 8 is a little rough because it's like I want to put certain units on here, but it's hard, right? It is hard making this tier list. But I think number 8 probably would have to go to Green Lillia, and the fact is that Green Lillia has a good passive. Her passive, I believe, is to reduce attack by 16%. Here, let's see. I believe it's to reduce attack by 16%. Yeah. So her decreasing attack is very nice because of the, because of how PvP works. Attack is a very major big thing, right? So you reducing it by 60% is big, and if you run her with a stall team, it's crazy. You run her with like people who reduce damage, like Tarmiel or Red Gill Thunder, or people who just like are tanky in general. She's gonna be a very, very good unit to have on the back, right? So if you get her 6 out of 6 with full engrave, work on her, it's nice because then she will have a high amount of CC, maybe not as high as some of the units that are coming out now, but have her with an HP and defense set. Her CC will be incredible, and just having that passive in general is nice because people won't know who's on the back most of the time. Since she's not if she were reducing attack related stats, that'd be insane, right? But no, since it's only attack, they might question it, but well, why is my attack going down? But most people don't even like consider Green Lillia on the back. It's kind of crazy, right? So when they're like, okay, my attack is down, it must be something that they're doing. They must have I don't know, it's like another unit. They don't really consider the fact that Green Lillia could potentially be in the back, right? So it is nice that she does have a very good passive which reduces attack stat, right? So nice there. All right, so then we get to number 7. Now number 7, I probably will give it to the boy Green Gill. I feel like he should be placed a little higher. Not gonna lie, I feel like he should be placed a little bit higher because of the fact that his passive is insane. Increasing defense related stats by 30%, right? That's insane. I believe it. Yeah, it's 30%, right? Let me just make sure. I don't want to give you guys false information, but yeah, his passive is really, really good for, tanky units such as Tarmiel, such as Valenti, and just in general, if you want to, tank more, right? So he works very, very good with defense like related units such as Droll, Tarmiel, Gother, right? So people who have high defense related stats, he just gives them a major amp by 30%. It's actually ridiculous. Like, it's actually pretty insane. So if you run him with Esther Rosa and Tarmiel, it's like, yo, you're not gonna take much damage, you know what I mean? Because the fact that he does that is insane. So people like to run Esther Rosa, Tarmiel, Valenti, and then him on the back, which is nice, but you can also change it up. You can put him, Green Derriere, you can put Esther Rosa, Tarmiel. You can do a lot, man. You can do a lot. But yeah, I think his passive is pretty like up there, which is why he's at number 7. Again, I feel like you could place him higher, right? I might, depending, but I feel like number 7 is still really, really good. Again, these are top 10s, right? So these are the people that you might see primarily in the back, unless of course they're running for CC and they put like Lost Vein or they put Goddess Elizabeth or someone else on the back. But if they're not running for CC and they're just running strictly for team composition, these are the units you're gonna see the most, right? So all right, number 6, we actually don't have this unit on global yet, but number 6, I give it to Naganashi. Again, I feel like you could put him higher. The reason I don't put Naganashi higher, however, is because his isn't that consistent, right? I will say the units on the tier list so far that we have, they're consistent. They don't change, right? They're not going to change. However, Naganashi isn't, because you have to have 2 or less skill cards, and most of the time you're gonna have a lot of cards. So I think at the bare minimum, it's 1 unit that's gonna get buffed by his passive, and then 2 won't, and then at the max, it's 2 people that will have this buff, and then 1 person won't. So again, it's not consistent, but it is still very, very good. And if you guys don't know what it does, it increases the max HP, crit resistance, and crit defense of allies with 2 or less skill cards. by 20%. Now, again, this is good to have. Now, it's not, you know, optimal, but you could pretty much run him with Gill Thunder. You will be getting a 50% buff to your crit related stats, right? And that's insane. 50%, that is good. I'm just saying that's really good. However, it only lasts for 1 turn, and for once per turn when attacked, reduce the ultimate move gauge of the enemy of the attacking enemy by 1 orb. So again, very good. Ult depletion passive, and then he also increases, you know, basically you know, the crit related defensive stats and then max HP by 20%. But again, the only problem with that is that you do have to have 2 or less cards, which is a problem because it's RNG. It's literally RNG based. So if you don't have it for a unit that you are, you know, trying to get buffed, that's a problem. So that's the only thing that's like, you know, a detriment to him. But otherwise, very good passive still. Again, the fact that he, you know, depletes ult gauge by just being attacked is nice. I like that. It's very nice, right? So number 5. So number 5, I would probably have to give it to I guess we could see, this is where it gets tough, man. I want to put Athena here, but at the same time I kind of want to put Zeldras there, but maybe I'm not giving Zeldras the credit he deserves, right? Maybe I'm not giving him the credit he deserves. So number 5, I'll probably just give it to Athena, because if you do kill an enemy teammate, like an enemy team, whatever, right? If you kill someone on the enemy team, you roll back their ult by 2 orbs, which is very good, right? That's very good. Again, you only do that when you take out an enemy team member, and that can sort of kind of be a problem, because it depends on if you sometimes it depends on if you go first. If you don't go first, you're screwed. But then again, like it's all RNG based with her, right? So that's literally all there is to her passive, by the way. There's really nothing else, because again, depleting orbs is nice, but again, you do have to, you know, kill an enemy team member, but that's pretty much it for her. And I would say she is above Naganashi just because she is more consistent. However, I guess you might be able to put him at number 5 and her at number 6, because she is time limited, right? She's an exclusive unit with the KOF collab, and Naganashi you can just get. So I mean, I guess you could put him above her, but at the same time, you could, you know, pretty much say that for these units as well. Since she's pretty much OC limited, you could put Esther Rosa here because you can get him anytime. So I don't want to do that, but I feel like you could put him at number 5 and her at number 6. But I think I'll put it like that for now. Let me know in the comments if you guys disagree with that. But yeah, I think I'll put her at number 5 and him at number 6 for now, right? So now we get to the top 4. Now this is where it gets interesting, right? So number 4, I will put Death Pierce. I feel like Death Pierce is very good on the back. However, he's mainly just used for crit based units, and his CC is relatively low. Like it's low. Like you have to do a lot to break 51k. Even on an HP and defense set, like you have to upgrade his cosmetics. You have to get him fully duped out, which isn't that much of a problem since he is on, I believe, what is it, part 2 tickets? I think it's part 2 tickets. And he's on multiple banners. He's been on multiple banners, so it's not that difficult. However, his CC is still pretty low because he was, you know, he was pretty much at, you know, start of the game unit. So yeah, like I would put him at number 4, and he's not used all the time. Again, he is mainly used for when you want to do massive damage with like crit based units, like even the one Zeldras, Sariel, Lost Vein. But otherwise, he's not really ran much. Again, the fact that he doesn't have high CC hurts him too. So I will keep him at number 4, and then I will place Zeldras at number 3, right? So at number 3, we got Zeldras. The boy Zeldras is very good. However, his thing only works with commandments, so you do have to have commandments on your team or the enemy team, right? the enemy team. And it is nice because of the fact that many people do run commandments. Commandments are pretty prominent in PvP. However, right, it is still restricted to commandments. And most of the time, on global at least, they're running Glue Eater. So you're not getting a buff from the enemy most of the time, right? You would have to rely on yourself in using a commandment. Now, Droll is pretty much the most popular commandment right now because of the fact that he works very, very good with Sariel, and he's also just a very, very good unit, right? So he is pretty much the most popular of the commandments at the moment. However, once Assault Mode Melee comes out, you could run him. He is very viable. You could run him on the back with Assault Melee, right? And then you would be getting, I'm not sure if he counts for it on the back. That is one thing I am not certain if he does count for it on the back himself. But at the very least, you will be getting a 12% buff if you run 2 commandments with Assault Melee. And then if the enemy team has, 2 commandments, you will be getting, 6, 12, 18, 24%, I believe, right? So a 24% buff to your basic stats. That is insane, right? That's very, very good. So that's why I'm going to put him at number 3. I think he is deserving. Now, for number 2, I'm going to leave this spot for honorable mentions, right? I couldn't create more categories, so I'm going to leave number 2 for honorable mentions, right? So for these will be the honorable mentions. Not every one of them are going to be on there, but for, I guess you could say number 2 / honorable mentions would be Red Elliehawk, Blue Gill Thunder, Red Greymore, Red Arthur, Green Hendrickson, and then finally for the last one we have Simon, right? So again, this isn't like, oh my god, these guys are better than all of these. No, this is simply the honorable mentions that didn't make it on the list technically, right? But if you want my honest opinion on who is number 2 out of all of these people, I would have to say it would probably be Red Diane. Or I guess you could put Zeldras up here, right? Yeah, actually I like that, right? So no, actually I like this. I'm changing this all around, right? Unfortunately, Red Diane is a, exclusive character, but her passive is insane. Her passive is actually very, very good because she buffs giants. So if you want my honest opinion on how it looks with her in it, I would say that she is high up there because she increases damage dealt by giant allies by 40%. That's insane. So when we get more giants, she's gonna be crazy, right? She's gonna be absolutely insane. I mean, I guess you could put Hauser up there, but his buff is pretty mediocre and no one really uses him, so it's unfortunate. But at number 1 is, you guys already know it's Merlin. You guys already knew that. You guys already knew it's Merlin. She got that W, man. Everyone runs Merlin, or at least on global right now. I don't know how that's gonna change when the 1 comes, but everybody runs Merlin. Every single person runs Merlin. But yeah, man, she's just, bruh. Like, she's pretty much just gonna be number 1. I don't know. I feel like Deanne, whatever you want to call her, right? I feel like, I don't know, because this is the one I was having the most trouble with, Deanne, right? Because, I don't know. Maybe you could put her there, and then you can put one of these units at number 4. Maybe. If anything, maybe Greymore. Actually, you know what? I like this. I like this. I'm sticking with that, right? I'm sticking with this. I'm sticking with Greymore at number 4. Greymore has a really good passive. It's just that he's an SR character. But, again, he still has a very good passive, increasing HP related stats by 15% for everybody. It's basically Arthur's, but he's not restricted to human, right? He's not restricted to human. So, very, very good. Yeah, again, this is, I guess you can now say it's the number 2 slot / honorable mentions. So Zeldras is number 2, and then these are, the rest of them are honorable mentions. These guys didn't make it on the list, unfortunately. I mean, I guess if you want, you could put Twigo up here, right? But Hauser definitely didn't make it on the list, unfortunately. It's just because his stat increase is too low. It's just unfortunate. But yeah, I think this is a good tier list. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, well, why didn't you put this unit here, right? And then they're gonna write me a whole essay in the comment section, and I'm ready for it. But keep in mind that you see these guys a lot more often than you see any of these guys on the back. So I just want you to keep that in mind as well. But all of these guys have really good passives on the back. Just all of them. All of them have very, very good passives that work in the sub slot. But I do think you will just be seeing these three more than you will see any of these guys. Again, unless they're running like for just pure CC and putting Lost Vein, Goddess Elizabeth, Gother, or something like that on the back. Yeah, you're definitely going to be seeing these three a lot, right? You're going to pretty much get tired of seeing them, but you're going to be seeing these guys a lot in the coming months. Again, you know, number 4 and down, you'll probably see here and there, but not as much as you will these guys. And then these guys are honorable mentions for just like if people want to have some fun with PvP, or if they just started the game, or etc, right? But yeah, I do like this tier list. I think it's pretty good. Let me know what you guys would change, what you would add, what you would remove, like where would you rank certain units. I'm curious to know. Try and keep it respectful. But yeah, guys, as always, I will see you all next time.